Welcome to the Language Lab, where words come alive. Here, we don't just learn languages, we live them. From everyday conversations to fascinating cultural insights, this is your lab to explore, experiment, and express. Subscribe now and start your journey of mastering the art of communication, only on the Language Lab.
We're the show that takes a whole stack of sources and, well, really drills down into what you actually need to know. And today, we are tackling something that sounds simple, maybe, but isn't, the English self-introduction.
Right. It seems so basic, doesn't it? Hello, my name is... But honestly, we think this is probably the single most important interaction for any English learner.
High stakes, you mean?
Totally high stakes. You get this right, it kind of unlocks everything else. Conversations, networking, making friends.
But if you get it wrong?
If you get it wrong, it can be a really quick, awkward end of the conversation.
Yeah.
That first impression matters a lot.
Okay, so the pressure's on then. Our mission today is definitely to go way beyond just my name is. We've looked at conversation guides, grammar sources, places like talktips.tv, Dee's English, Busuu.
A real mix.
Yeah, a good mix to build, like a complete toolkit for you. We want you to finish this deep dive feeling confident, not just saying your name, but, actually starting and keeping a good conversation going in any setting.
And that's the key phrase, isn't it? Any setting. Because the number one rule that all our sources really hammer home is context matters.
Okay.
Your self-introduction has to change completely depending on where you are. It's like a chameleon.
That's a great way to put it. So you can't just have one script in your head. The way you introduce yourself at a friend's barbecue is totally different from meeting like a potential boss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are those key differences then?
Well, it seems to boil down to your goal, really, and the tone you use.
Okay.
So in a casual place, a party, maybe a meet and greet, the goal is just connection, right? Relaxed. Easygoing.
Keep it light.
Yeah. So the language is simpler, more direct. You'd probably use contractions. Hi, I'm Inako. Nice to meet you. Something like that.
And crucially, in those casual chats, you want to move past the introduction fast.
Yeah.
Find something in common.
Right. Like, so how do you know Sarah? Or, wow, this music's great. The intro's just the first step. Get over it quickly.
Precisely. But then you flip that completely for a formal setting.
Like a conference. Or a job interview.
Exactly. Or maybe a more structured networking event. Here, the goal is different. It's about making a good professional impression, showing credibility.
So the language needs to be more polished.
Yeah, more structure, more politeness. Probably best to avoid the contractions, maybe.
Makes sense.
So instead of hi, the sources suggest something more like, good evening. My name is Minako Davis. It's a pleasure to meet you.
It sounds more serious.
Yeah.
Because the situation is more serious, I guess.
Right. And notice the content changes, too. In that formal intro, you're probably going straight to professional details.
Because that's why you're there.
So instead of talking about your hobbies, you'd say something like, I work in business development at ABC Corp.
So that basic structure greeting, name, what you do, that's kind of the foundation for any intro, formal or casual.
Absolutely. Maybe with an optional personal touch later, but those three are key.
Okay. And that what you do part. That sounds like where the problems might start.
Oh, definitely. That's where we hit the most common grammar mistakes for non-native speakers. It's like a minefield.
All right, let's tackle those mistakes then. Because fixing these is a quick win for sounding more fluent, more professional. What's mistake number one? The big one.
It's got to be the missing article, the A or M before the job title.
Ah, yes. You hear it all the time, don't you? I am web developer. Or she is engineer.
Exactly. And it just sounds incomplete in English, even though lots of other languages don't need it there.
So that's a non-negotiable fix if you want to sound right.
Absolutely. You have to say, I'm a web developer.
Yeah.
Or I'm an English teacher. That little word makes a huge difference. Without it, it's a clear signal, really.
Okay, mistake number one. Use a or an with your job. What's number two?
Prepositions. Specifically when you talk about your employer, your company.
Right. Like, if you work at Google, you can't say.
You really shouldn't say, I work in Google. That word in just doesn't fit when you're talking about the company itself.
Why do you think people use in so much then? Is it confusion with the field? Like, I work in software.
That's probably it, yeah. In works perfectly for this sector or the industry. I work in healthcare. I work in education. That's fine.
But for the actual company name.
For the company, your best bets are, I work at Google or I work for Google.
Okay, at or for. Is there a difference? Does it matter which one you choose?
Mostly, no. they're often interchangeable in everyday conversation.
Okay.
Technically, for might slightly emphasize the employment relationship, like you work for them. And ed could sometimes point more to the physical place, like I work at the factory.
I see.
But honestly, for most office jobs, saying I work at Google or I work for Google, either one is perfectly fine. Just avoid in Google.
Got it. So articles, prepositions, what's the third big mistake area?
This one's a bit more subtle. It's about word choice and, crucially, word stress, pronunciation, especially with job titles.
Getting the rhythm right. That can really affect how clearly you come across, can't it?
Hugely, especially in professional settings. You want to build trust, sound competent.
So what are some examples?
Well, the sources mentioned recruiter. You need to stress the second syllable. Recruit.
Not recruiter.
No. Or worse, sometimes people say something like recreator, which is a totally different word.
Okay, yeah, that would be confusing. What else?
Developer. Same pattern. It's developer.
Not developer.
Right. Getting that stress pattern correct just makes it sound instantly more natural.
And what about word choice itself? Like using the wrong job title?
Yeah, that happens too. Often from translating to directly from another language, we saw things like marketologist.
Which isn't really a word in English, is it?
Not commonly used. No, you'd say marketer.
Yeah.
Or maybe marketing specialist.
Okay.
Or another one was business analytic.
Instead of?
Business analyst. Using the standard English terms just shows you're familiar with the professional landscape. It sounds more integrated.
That makes sense. And while you're delivering all this great, accurate information, we should probably quickly touch on the nonverbal stuff too, right? Body language.
Oh, absolutely. You could have perfect grammar, but if your body language is off, particularly in English-speaking cultures.
It can undermine everything.
Totally. So the basics. A brief, firm handshake. Not too limp, not bone-crushing.
Right. Eye contact.
Essential. Make eye contact. It doesn't have to be constant staring, but connect visually. And smile. A genuine smile helps a lot.
And personal space.
Yeah, keep about an arm's length distance. Getting too close can make people uncomfortable. It creates a subtle barrier, even if you don't mean it to.
Okay, good reminders. Now, we've talked a lot about work, but let's zoom out for a second. The absolute bedrock of any self-introduction. Stating facts about yourself, name, age, where you're from, it all relies on one verb, doesn't it?
It does. The verb to be. You simply cannot introduce yourself in English without it.
It's the verb of identity.
Exactly. It lets us state those fundamental facts.
Now, most learners know the basics, right? I am, you are, he, shite is, we are, they are. So what's the deep dive insight here? Why is to be still tricky sometimes?
Well, I think it's mainly the contractions in spoken English.
The short forms. I'm, you're, she's, there.
Exactly. In natural flowing conversation, native speakers use these almost all the time. We rarely say the full I am or they are.
So you'd say, I'm from Poland, not I am from Poland.
Right. And that am sound almost vanishes into the I, becomes from Poland.
And if you're listening for the full am, you might miss it. Your brain might just stall for a second.
That's exactly it. So mastering these contractions is as much a listening skill as a speaking skill. You need to be able to hear them and produce them smoothly.
Okay. And where else is to be absolutely essential in an intro?
Well, stating your age. I'm 37 years old. I'm 37.
Right. Your status.
Yep. I'm married. I'm single. We're engaged. All used to be.
Location, origin. She's from Brazil. They're based in London.
All to be. You literally can't talk about yourself without it. So getting those present simple forms, especially the contractions, absolutely solid is step one.
Okay, so we've got the context sorted, casual versus formal. We've tackled the big grammar traps like articles and prepositions. We've nailed the verb to be. What's next? The big challenge.
Keeping it going.
Yeah. How do you stop the conversation from just dying after the first 30 seconds? A perfect intro is kind of useless if it just leads to awkward silence.
This is where you move from just stating facts to actually building rapport, adding depth.
Okay. How? Let's stick with the work topic for a minute. How do you go deeper than just your job title?
Well, you can talk about your sector or your field. That adds useful context.
So instead of just, I'm a consultant.
We could say, I'm a consultant, I work in the healthcare sector, or I work in digital marketing. See, now we're using incorrectly.
Right. For the field, not the company. And that immediately gives the other person more to ask about.
Exactly. And another thing, especially now, is how you work. Your work arrangement.
Oh, like remote work.
Yeah. People are often interested in that. So being able to say, I work remotely, or I have a hybrid work setup, part home, part office.
These are really common phrases now.
Very common. Or explaining your hours. If you work a standard week, you'd say, I work full time.
Which usually means about 40 hours a week in places like the US or UK, right?
Typically, yes. So adding those details about your sector and how you work can really flesh out the what I do part.
Okay, but moving away from work is probably even more important for making a real connection, isn't it?
Definitely. Sharing personal interests, hobbies.
Yeah.
That's how you build rapport. It's that personal touch element.
So how do you ask about that naturally? What are your hobbies?
Okay. It's okay, yeah. But some sources suggested it can sound a little direct, maybe a bit like an interview question.
Okay, so what's a more conversational way?
Maybe something like, so what do you like to do in your free time? Or what do you do for fun? It just sounds a bit softer, maybe.
Yeah, I like that. What do you like to do in your free time? And then when you answer, the key is not just giving a one-word answer, right?
Absolutely not. Don't just say photography or yoga.
Why not?
Because it kills the conversation. The other person has nowhere to go. You need to give them something to hook onto. Explain why you like it or what you get out of it. Use those connecting phrases.
Okay, give me an example. Instead of, I like yoga.
You could say, I'm really into yoga. Using into sounds more enthusiastic.
Okay.
I'm really into yoga because it helps me relax after work.
Yeah.
Or, talking about photography, I love photography. It allows me to express myself creatively.
Ah, I see. You're explaining the benefit or the feeling. You're giving the other person information they can respond to.
Exactly. If you tell me why yoga helps you relax, I can ask about that. If you just say yoga, I might just say, oh, nice, and then silence.
Right. Offer them conversational material. And speaking of going deeper, we found some really interesting questions in the sources. Questions that kind of skip the small talk and get a bit more personal, but in a good way.
Oh yeah, these are great for quickly building a real connection, not just swapping facts.
Okay, first one I like. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? Straightforward, but tells you a lot.
That's a good one. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Reveals a bit about how someone sees the world.
Yeah. Second one, maybe a bit more edgy. What gets you really angry?
Ooh, interesting. That could reveal someone's values, maybe? What lines they won't cross?
Could do. And the third one, maybe a bit lighter, but still revealing. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Ha, the classic. Everyone has an opinion on that. But yeah, these kinds of questions shift the focus from just what you do to who you are.
And that's the goal, isn't it? To make sure the conversation doesn't just fizzle out after the introductions.
Absolutely. It all ties back to that structure we talked about, but adds the necessary depth.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. If someone's listening and trying to put all this together, what are the main takeaways? What does it all mean in practice?
I think it boils down to maybe 3 core things. First, get the context right. Know if you need to be casual or formal. That dictates your language.
Right. Rule 1.
Second, nail the grammar basics, especially for job talk. Get those articles and prepositions at 4. They make a surprisingly big difference to how fluent you sound.
Okay. Accuracy matters there.
And third, aim for depth. Don't just stop at the surface. Talk about your sector, how you work, and especially your interests. Use those connecting phrases to explain why. Invite the other person in.
Invite them in. I like that. It's about making it a two-way street.
Exactly. And maybe one final point. Remember why you're practicing. One source talked about starting a speaking club. The students knew the grammar, but they froze when they met new people.
Yeah, the fear factor.
Right. So the solution wasn't more grammar rules. It was just practicing simple questions and answers in a safe space. Building confidence.
So the goal isn't just being correct, it's feeling comfortable and confident.
That's the real key. Confidence often matters more than perfect grammar in making a good connection.
That's a great point. Correctness versus confidence. Okay, to leave everyone with something to chew on, a final bit of language nuance from the sources. Think about the difference between 2 questions.
Okay.
Where do you live versus where are you from?
Yeah. They sound similar, but they're asking different things.
Totally different. Where do you live is about your current address right now.
Simple fact.
But where are you from? That could mean, well, where you were born, where you grew up, your cultural background.
Yeah.
Even if you moved away years ago.
It's much broader, potentially much deeper. It asks about identity, not just location.
Exactly. And understanding that kind of nuance, knowing which question to ask and how to interpret the answer, That shows real conversational intelligence, doesn't it? It shows you're really listening.
It really does. So practice those contractions, think about those deeper questions, and good luck with your next introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.